Captain Jessica Martinez stared at the endless black void through the bridge windows of the USS Frontier. Stars dotted the darkness like tiny diamonds scattered across velvet cloth. She had seen this view 1,000 times during their 3-year journey, but it never got old. This was what humans had dreamed of for centuries, traveling between the stars, exploring new worlds. "Captain, we're approaching the third planet in the Vega system," called out Ryan Thompson from the pilot's seat. His hands moved smoothly over the controls as he adjusted their course. "Scans show it has water and an atmosphere. Could be perfect for human life." Jessica nodded and walked over to the science station where Lisa Walker was studying the readings. Lisa pushed her blonde hair behind her ear as she focused on the data streaming across her screen. "What do you think, Lisa?" Jessica asked. "It's beautiful, Captain," Lisa replied with excitement in her voice. "The planet has 3 large continents and vast oceans. The air is mostly nitrogen and oxygen, just like Earth. Temperature readings are perfect, too. This could be humanity's first new home." Behind them, David Chen looked up from his medical station. "If we're going down there, I'll need to prepare for any unknown diseases or toxins. We can't be too careful on an alien world." Amanda Foster, their communications officer, turned in her chair. "I'm picking up no artificial signals from the planet. No radio waves, no signs of technology. Looks like we'll be the first intelligent life to visit this place." Marcus Rodriguez checked his weapon systems one more time. As their security chief, he always stayed alert for danger. "All defensive systems are online, Captain. We're ready for anything." Jessica smiled at her crew. These 5 people had volunteered to leave Earth forever, to travel further from home than any human in history. They were brave, smart, and had become like family during the long journey. "All right, everyone, let's make history," Jessica announced. "Ryan, take us into orbit. Lisa, start detailed scans. Amanda, record everything for the folks back home." The USS Frontier moved closer to the blue and green planet below. Their ship was humanity's pride, built with the best technology Earth could create. It had powerful engines, strong shields, and enough supplies to last years. Jessica felt proud to command such a vessel on such an important mission. "Captain, I'm detecting something strange," Lisa said suddenly. Her voice had changed from excited to worried. "There are metal objects in space near the 4th planet. They're big and they're moving." Jessica frowned. "Natural objects or artificial?" "Definitely artificial." "They're ships, Captain." "Alien ships." The bridge fell silent. Everyone had known this moment might come. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "How many ships?" Jessica asked calmly. 7 that I can detect. Wait, there are more coming from behind the 4th planet's moon, maybe 20 ships total." Marcus immediately went to work at his station. "Captain, those ships have weapon systems, big ones. And they're heading straight for us." Jessica's mind raced. First contact with an alien species should have been humanity's greatest moment. But these aliens were approaching with weapons ready. That wasn't a good sign. "Amanda, try to communicate with them," Jessica ordered. "Send out peaceful greetings on all frequencies." Amanda's fingers flew across her controls. "Broadcasting now, Captain. Using mathematics, pictures, music. Everything we prepared for first contact." Minutes passed with no response. The alien ships kept moving toward them, getting closer and faster. "They're not answering," Amanda reported, "but I am picking up some of their communications. It's not like any language I've ever heard. Very harsh, lots of growling sounds." "Distance to their ships?" Jessica asked. 2 million kilometers and closing fast, Ryan replied. "Captain, at their current speed, they'll reach us in 30 minutes. Jessica weighed her options. They could try to run, but the alien ships looked faster than the Frontier. They could fight, but 20 against 1 was terrible odds. Or they could stay and hope the aliens were just being cautious. "Keep trying to communicate, Amanda," Jessica decided. "But everyone else, prepare for the worst. Marcus, charge all weapons and raise shields. Lisa, give me everything you know about their ships. Ryan, plot an escape course back toward Earth." The next 20 minutes felt like 20 hours. The crew worked in tense silence as the alien ships surrounded them. Up close, the vessels looked nothing like human ships. They were sleek and organic, like giant metal sharks swimming through space. Dark red symbols covered their hulls. "Captain, they're powering up weapons," Marcus warned. "Multiple energy signatures building up across their fleet." "Still no response to our communications," Amanda added desperately. "I don't think they want to talk." Jessica realized with growing dread that humanity had encountered something terrible. These weren't peaceful explorers like themselves. These were predators. "All hands, this is the captain," she announced over the ship's communication system. "Prepare for combat. We are about to engage hostile alien forces. Fight hard and fight smart. Make humanity proud." The alien ships opened fire without warning. Bright energy beams lit up the darkness as they struck the Frontier's shields. The ship shook violently under the assault. "Shields down to 60%, Marcus called out as he returned fire. "Their weapons are incredibly powerful." "Evasive maneuvers," Jessica ordered. Ryan threw the ship into a spinning dive that would have made any Earth pilot sick, but the alien ships followed easily. Lisa worked frantically at her station. "Captain, I'm analyzing their ship designs. These aliens are built for hunting. Look at those weapon placements, the way they move in formation. This is what they do. They hunt other species." Another barrage of energy weapons hammered the Frontier. Sparks flew from damaged control panels as the lights flickered. "Shields at 20%, Marcus reported grimly. "I don't think we can win this fight, Captain." Jessica watched through the view screen as more alien ships surrounded them. She could see strange symbols on their hulls that looked like crossed claws. These weren't explorers or diplomats. They were warriors, and humanity had just become their prey. "Keep fighting," she ordered, even as she realized their situation was hopeless. "We'll show these aliens what humans are made of." The USS Frontier continued firing its weapons as the alien fleet closed in for the kill. Humanity's first meeting with alien life was becoming their greatest nightmare. The USS Frontier drifted dead in space. Smoke filled the corridors as emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. Jessica Martinez woke up with blood running down her face and her head pounding like a drum. The last thing she remembered was the alien ships firing their final shots before everything went dark. "Ryan, Lisa, anyone," she called out weakly. Her voice echoed in the damaged bridge. "Here, Captain," came David's voice from somewhere in the wreckage. "I'm alive but hurt. My leg is broken." One by one, her crew answered. Ryan had a deep cut on his arm. Lisa was trapped under fallen debris but conscious. Amanda had burns on her hands from electrical fires. Marcus was the worst hurt with internal injuries, but he was still breathing. Heavy footsteps echoed through the ship's corridors. The aliens were boarding. Jessica tried to stand but fell back down. Her left ankle was twisted badly. "Everyone stay quiet," she whispered. "Maybe they'll think we're dead." The footsteps got louder. Soon, massive shapes appeared in the bridge doorway. The aliens were huge, standing nearly 8 feet tall. They looked like a mix between reptiles and cats, with dark scales covering powerful muscles. Their faces had 4 eyes that glowed yellow in the dim light. Long claws extended from their hands, and their mouths were full of sharp teeth. The leader wore decorated armor with those same crossed claw symbols Jessica had seen on their ships. He looked at the humans with what seemed like disappointment. "These creatures are still alive," the alien said in perfect English. His voice was deep and rough like grinding stone. "Good. Dead prey is no fun to hunt." Jessica stared in shock. "You speak our language?" The alien leader laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "We have been watching your species for some time, human. We know your words, your habits, your fears. I am Huntmaster Valix of the Korthak Empire. You and your pack will provide excellent sport on Drakmor." "Sport?" Jessica asked, though she already feared the answer. "The great hunt, of course," Valix replied. "Your species shows promise as prey. You fought longer than most before your ship died. The nobles will enjoy tracking you through the killing fields." Other Korthak warriors moved through the bridge, checking each human. They handled Jessica's crew roughly but kept them alive. David cried out when they moved his broken leg, but the aliens didn't care about his pain. "Load them onto the transport," Valix ordered. "Send word to the Empire. Tell them we have a new species for the hunting grounds. These humans might actually provide a challenge." The journey to Drakmor took 3 days. The humans were kept in a dark cargo hold with barely any food or water. David's leg got worse without proper medical care. Amanda's burns became infected, but they were alive, which was more than Jessica had expected. When the transport ship finally landed, bright sunlight flooded into the cargo hold. The humans were dragged outside onto a metal platform. Jessica looked around in horror at what she saw. Drakmor was a planet designed for hunting. The sky was a sickly green color, and 2 red suns blazed overhead. The landscape was broken into different sections like a giant game board. She could see thick jungles, rocky mountains, frozen wastelands, and burning deserts. Each area was separated by tall metal walls with weapon towers on top. But the worst part was the other prisoners. Hundreds of creatures from different worlds were held in metal cages around the platform. Jessica saw beings that looked like walking trees, others that seemed made of living crystal, and some that were just balls of glowing energy trapped in special containers. A tall, thin creature with blue skin and large black eyes approached their cage. It moved on 4 spider-like legs and had arms that ended in delicate hands. "New arrivals," it said in a musical voice. "I am Thyron of the Kalani people. Welcome to Hell. How long have you been here?" Jessica asked. 2 years by your time measurement," Thyron replied sadly. "My entire world was destroyed after the Korthak finished hunting my species. Only a few dozen of us remain in the entire galaxy." Near their cage, a creature made of living purple crystal hummed softly. The sound was beautiful but also heartbreaking. "That is Zephia," Thyron explained. "Her people communicated through music. The Korthak found their songs annoying, so they destroyed most of her race. She is one of only 5 left." Jessica felt sick. "How many species have they wiped out?" "Hundreds," Thyron answered. "The Korthak are the ultimate predators. They have ruled this galaxy for thousands of years. Every other intelligent species is either extinct or enslaved. We are the last survivors, kept alive only to provide entertainment." "There has to be a way to fight back," Ryan said through gritted teeth. His wounded arm was getting worse. Thyron made a sound that might have been laughter. "Fight back with what?" "The Korthak are bigger, stronger, and faster than any of us. They have better weapons and technology. They are born hunters bred for killing. We are just prey animals to them." "Not all of us," Jessica said quietly. She looked at her crew, then at the other prisoners. "Some of us might be prey, but humans are different." "Different how?" Thyron asked. Jessica thought about Earth's history. Humans had always been both hunters and hunted. They had fought wars for thousands of years. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and disasters that would have destroyed other species. "We adapt," she said finally. "We learn. We change our tactics when something doesn't work. And we work together when we have to." "The Korthak work together too," Thyron pointed out. "They hunt in packs." "No," Jessica replied, studying the alien guards around the platform. "They hunt in groups, but they compete with each other. Look at how they act. Each one wants to be the best hunter, the one who kills the most prey. That makes them predictable." Lisa, despite her injuries, was already looking at the cage locks and guard positions. "Captain, these aliens think like Earth's big predators, lions, tigers, sharks. They're used to prey that runs away or hides." "Exactly," Jessica said. "They've never faced prey that fights back smart. They expect us to be scared and helpless." Marcus managed a weak smile despite his pain. "They don't know humans very well, do they?" Over the next few days, while they waited for the hunt to begin, Jessica talked to as many prisoners as possible. She learned about their abilities, their homeworlds, their reasons for giving up hope. Each species had something useful. The tree-like beings could camouflage perfectly. The crystal creatures could disrupt electronic systems. Others had natural armor or could see in different light spectrums. But none of them had ever thought about working together against their captors. They were all too afraid, too beaten down by years of being hunted. "The hunt begins tomorrow," Thyron told them on their final night in the cages. "The Korthak nobles will be released into the killing fields with us. They will track us for sport while betting on who dies first. Try to survive as long as you can." Jessica looked up at the alien stars above Drakmor. Somewhere out there was Earth, with billions of humans who would never know what happened to the USS Frontier. But maybe that would change. Maybe some of them would survive long enough to get a message home. "Thyron," she said, "tomorrow stay close to us humans. I think it's time these Korthak learned what real predators look like." Dawn came to Drakmor with the sound of metal gates opening. Jessica Martinez stood with her crew and dozens of other prisoners as Korthak guards herded them toward the killing fields. The red suns cast long shadows across the platform where alien nobles gathered to watch the hunt begin. Huntmaster Valak stood on a raised platform, his armor gleaming in the morning light. "Today we hunt new prey," he announced to the crowd. "These humans claim to be different from other species. We shall see how long they survive in the fields." The prisoners were pushed through a large gate into the jungle section of Drakmor. Jessica helped David walk despite his broken leg. Ryan and Marcus supported each other, both still weak from their injuries. Lisa and Amanda stayed close, watching for any chance to escape. "Remember what I told you," Jessica whispered to Thyron and the other aliens nearby. "Stay together. Don't run until I give the signal." "This is madness," Thyron replied. "The Korthak will kill us all." "Maybe," Jessica said, "but not the way they expect." The gate slammed shut behind them. In the distance, they could hear the Korthak nobles preparing their weapons and discussing their hunting strategies. The prisoners had a 10-minute head start before the real hunt began. Most of the aliens immediately scattered in different directions, following their natural instinct to hide. But Jessica gathered her crew and a few brave volunteers, including Thyron and Zephia. "Lisa, what can you tell me about this jungle?" Jessica asked. Lisa looked around at the thick trees and tangled vines. Artificial ecosystem, but well-designed. Multiple levels of plant life, good water sources, and plenty of places to hide. "But Captain, those trees aren't natural. Someone designed this place." "Good," Jessica replied. "That means it follows rules. Ryan, you see any high ground we can use?" Ryan pointed to a large tree about 50 yards away. "That one looks sturdy enough to climb. From up there I could spot the hunters coming." "David, how's your medical knowledge of alien biology?" Jessica asked. Despite his pain, David managed a smile. "I've been studying our guards for days. Korthak have excellent eyesight and hearing, but they rely mostly on scent tracking. Their sense of smell is their strongest hunting tool." "Perfect," Jessica said. "Amanda, can you make noise without the hunters tracking it back to us?" Amanda nodded. "I've been listening to how sound travels in this jungle. I can use echoes to confuse them about where we are. Marcus, despite your injuries, can you still fight?" Marcus gripped a sharp piece of metal he had saved from their ship. "Just point me at the enemy, Captain." Jessica turned to Thyron and Zephia. "Your people have abilities we need. Thyron, you can camouflage. Zephia, you can disrupt their electronics with your crystal vibrations. Are you willing to trust human tactics?" Both aliens looked terrified but nodded. They had nothing left to lose. "All right," Jessica said. "Here's what we're going to do. We're not running from these hunters. We're going to hunt them." The first Korthak hunter entered the jungle 12 minutes later. He was younger than Valix, probably trying to prove himself to the nobles watching from above. He moved through the trees with deadly grace, following the scent trails left by the scattered prisoners. Jessica and her team waited in carefully chosen positions. Ryan was high in the trees, watching for movement. Lisa had rigged a simple trap using vines and fallen branches. David was ready with knowledge of where to strike a Korthak for maximum damage. Amanda was positioned to create distracting sounds. Marcus waited with his improvised weapon. Thyron had changed his skin color to match the jungle floor perfectly. Zephia hummed softly, her crystal body creating interference with the hunter's electronic equipment. The Korthak hunter stopped suddenly, confused. His tracking device was giving him wrong readings thanks to Zephia's vibrations. He sniffed the air, trying to locate his prey by scent. Amanda made a small noise to his left. The hunter turned toward the sound, walking directly into Lisa's trap. Vines tangled around his legs, and he fell forward onto sharpened sticks. Before the alien could recover, Marcus struck from behind while David hit a nerve cluster that temporarily paralyzed the hunter's legs. The mighty Korthak warrior was down in seconds. "Impossible," Thyron whispered. "You actually defeated a hunter." "That's just the beginning," Jessica replied. She took the hunter's weapons and communication device. "Lisa, can you figure out how this technology works?" Lisa examined the alien equipment. "It's more advanced than ours, but the basic principles are the same. Give me an hour and I can modify it." They tied up the unconscious hunter and moved to a new position. Jessica used the captured communication device to listen to other hunters in the jungle. She was learning their tactics, their weaknesses, their overconfidence. 2 hours later, a second hunter came looking for his missing colleague. This time, Jessica's team was ready with better weapons and improved tactics. The battle was over even faster. By the end of the first day, 3 Korthak hunters were missing. The nobles watching from their towers were no longer laughing and placing bets. They were confused and angry. "How are mere prey animals defeating our hunters?" demanded Lord Kreizak, the governor of Drakmor. Huntmaster Valak studied the tracking reports. "These humans are not behaving like normal prey. They are not running or hiding. They are setting traps and working together." "Then send more hunters," Kreizak ordered, but Jessica was already planning for that. During the night, she gathered more prisoners who had heard about the human victories. Word was spreading through the killing fields that someone was finally fighting back. Your species has given us something we haven't had in years, Thyron told her. Hope. Zephia's crystal body pulsed with soft light as she communicated through her musical language. Thyron translated her words. She says her people have a phrase. When the song changes, the whole world must learn new music. She believes you humans are changing the song of this galaxy. Jessica looked at the growing group of aliens around their campfire. Species that had been enemies on their homeworlds were now working together against a common threat. Her human crew was teaching them tactics while learning about their unique abilities. We're not just fighting for our own survival anymore, Jessica realized. We're fighting for every species the Korthak have hunted. The next morning brought news that shocked the Korthak command. 5 more hunters had vanished during the night. Security cameras showed impossible scenes of prey animals working together to ambush predators. Bring me Huntmaster Valix, Lord Krizak commanded. If his hunters cannot handle simple prey, perhaps it is time for a new approach. But Jessica was already thinking several steps ahead. She had studied the Korthak social structure during her time in the cages. She understood their pride, their need to prove dominance, their belief in their own superiority. Ryan, how good are you at climbing those walls between the hunting sections? She asked. Good enough, Ryan replied. Why? Because we're not just going to survive this hunt, Jessica said with a fierce smile. We're going to take over this entire planet. 3 weeks had passed since the hunt began, and Drakmor was no longer the same planet. Jessica Martinez stood on a captured Korthak guard tower, looking out over hunting fields that had become battlefields. Her makeshift army of former prey species controlled nearly half the planet. Captain, we just received word from Sector 7, Amanda reported through their stolen communication system. The crystal beings have taken control of the power station. They're using their natural vibrations to overload the Korthak energy systems. Jessica nodded with satisfaction. What about Ryan's mission? He's successfully infiltrated the orbital defense platforms. Lisa answered from her position at a bank of captured computers. The space stations are now under our control. No Korthak reinforcements can land without our permission. David limped over, his broken leg finally healing thanks to medical supplies they had captured. The prisoners from the desert sector have joined our cause. That brings our total force to over 3,000 former captives from 47 different species. Marcus, looking much healthier after weeks of proper food and rest, checked his weapons. The Korthak have pulled back to their main fortress. Lord Krizak is scared to send any more hunters into the field. Jessica smiled grimly. The transformation had been remarkable to watch. Species that had been broken by years of captivity were now fighting with courage they never knew they had. The key was working together and using each species' natural abilities in smart ways. Thyron approached, his blue skin now covered with war paint made from jungle plants. Jessica, our scouts report that Lord Krizak is planning something desperate. He's called for Huntmaster Valix to make a final assault on our position. Let him come, Jessica replied. She was wearing captured Korthak armor that Lisa had modified to fit her human body. In her hands was Valix's ceremonial weapon, taken from the first hunter they had defeated. I've been waiting for this chance. Zephia's crystal body chimed with musical notes. Thyron translated her words. She says the ancestors of her people are singing victory songs. They can feel the change coming across the galaxy. Jessica looked at her diverse army. Former prey animals now carried Korthak weapons and wore captured armor. They moved with confidence instead of fear. Most importantly, they fought not just for survival, but for freedom. Everyone listen, Jessica announced. Today we end this. Today we show the galaxy that the age of the Korthak Empire is over. The assault on the main fortress began at dawn. Jessica's forces attacked from all directions using tactics no Korthak military leader had ever seen. Tree-like beings provided camouflage for advancing troops. Crystal creatures disrupted communication systems. Flying species dropped improvised bombs from above. The Korthak defenders fought desperately, but they were confused and demoralized. For thousands of years they had hunted helpless prey. They had never faced an organized army of species working together. Jessica led the main assault force straight through the fortress gates. The battle was fierce, with energy weapons lighting up the dark corridors. But her forces pressed forward, motivated by years of anger and the hope of freedom. Finally, she reached the command center where Lord Krizak waited with his personal guards. The Korthak governor was even larger than Huntmaster Valix. with scars covering his ancient body. His 4 yellow eyes glowed with rage as he saw the human who had destroyed his hunting grounds. "You dare challenge me, little prey animal?" Krizak roared. "I have ruled this world for 200 years. I have killed thousands of your kind from dozens of species." "That's your problem," Jessica replied, raising her captured weapon. "You've been killing instead of learning. You never adapted because you never had to." The fight was brutal. Krizak was bigger, stronger, and had decades more experience in combat. But Jessica had something he didn't understand: the ability to change tactics in the middle of battle. When Krizak charged with brute force, Jessica used his momentum against him. When he tried to use his superior reach, she got inside his guard. When he relied on his natural weapons, she used her captured technology more cleverly. The battle raged through the command center, destroying computers and weapon racks. Other Korthak guards tried to help their leader, but Jessica's forces kept them busy. Finally, Jessica saw her opening. Krizak had fallen into a pattern of attacks, repeating the same moves that had worked against frightened prey. Jessica feinted left, then struck right, hitting the nerve cluster David had taught her about. Krizak stumbled, and Jessica pressed her advantage. Using a combination of human martial arts and alien weapon techniques, she brought the mighty Korthak lord to his knees. "Impossible," Krizak gasped. "You are prey. We are the predators." "Not anymore," Jessica replied. According to Korthak law that she had learned from captured documents, defeating a leader in single combat meant taking his position and authority. "I claim this world and all who serve it." The remaining Korthak guards stared in shock as their leader fell. By their own ancient laws, Jessica was now the rightful ruler of Drakmor. News of the victory spread quickly through Amanda's communication network. Across the galaxy, enslaved species heard that the impossible had happened. Prey had defeated predator. The mighty Korthak Empire had lost an entire world to the creatures they had hunted for sport. "What are your orders, Predator Queen?" Thyron asked. It was a title of respect among the former prisoners, acknowledging Jessica's new position in Korthak society. Jessica looked around the captured command center. Computer screens showed star maps of the entire Korthak Empire. Hundreds of worlds with billions of enslaved creatures waited for liberation. "First, we treat all prisoners as free beings," she announced. "No more hunting, no more cages. This planet becomes a sanctuary for all species." "And then?" asked Zephia through her musical communication. Jessica studied the star maps, planning their next moves. Ryan controlled the orbital defenses. Lisa had captured the technology to build new ships. David could heal their wounded. Amanda could coordinate with resistance movements on other worlds. Marcus could train their growing army. "Then we do what humans do best," Jessica said with determination. "We adapt, we organize, and we turn the hunters into the hunted." The Korthak Empire had ruled through fear for thousands of years. But they had made one critical mistake. They had captured a species that refused to stay prey. Now the galaxy would learn what happened when humans decided to protect instead of just survive. From the command center of Drakmor, Jessica Martinez began planning the liberation of an entire galaxy. The hunt was over. The war for freedom had begun. 2 months after the liberation of Drakmor, Jessica Martinez stood in the planet's new command center watching reports flood in from across the galaxy. Former prey species on dozens of worlds were rising up against their Korthak oppressors. Amanda's communication network had spread the news of their victory far and wide. "Captain, we're receiving an emergency transmission from the Korthak homeworld," Amanda announced from her station. "It's on all frequencies meant for us to hear." "Put it through," Jessica ordered. The main screen filled with the image of the largest Korthak Jessica had ever seen. His scales were black as space, and his armor was covered in symbols showing his victories over countless species. When he spoke, his voice carried the authority of absolute power. "I am Emperor Vorthak, ruler of the Korthak Empire, master of 1,000 worlds," the massive alien declared. "You have amused me with your small rebellion, human, but now you face the true apex predator of this galaxy." Jessica stepped forward so the Emperor could see her clearly. "I'm Jessica Martinez, Predator Queen of Drakmor. Your hunting days are over." Emperor Vorthak laughed, a sound like thunder. "You dare call yourself Predator Queen? You are nothing but escaped prey playing with stolen weapons. I have personally killed the leaders of 300 species. I have watched entire civilizations burn, and that's why you're going to lose, Jessica replied calmly. You've spent so long killing that you've forgotten how to fight an equal opponent. The Emperor's 4 eyes blazed with anger. In 7 days I will arrive at your pathetic little world with the Imperial fleet. 1,000 warships, 50,000 elite warriors. I will hunt you personally, little human, and your death will remind the galaxy who the true masters are. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in tense silence. Everyone knew what this meant. The full power of the Korthak Empire was coming to crush their rebellion. How many ships do we have? Jessica asked Ryan, who was monitoring their orbital defenses. 15 captured Korthak vessels and the modified platforms, Ryan replied. Against 1,000 Imperial warships, we don't stand a chance in straight combat. Good thing we're not planning straight combat, Jessica said. She turned to her war council, which now included leaders from dozens of species. Lisa, what's the status of our special projects? Lisa smiled and pulled up technical displays on her computer. The asteroid mines are ready. We've been following your instructions to hollow out the largest rocks in the system. Each one is now packed with explosives and remote guidance systems. Thyron, how are your camouflage specialists doing? Jessica asked. Better than we ever dreamed possible, Thyron answered proudly. Working with human tactics has made us invisible even to Korthak sensors. We can hide entire fleets if needed. Zephia's crystal body hummed with complex harmonies. Thyron translated her musical words. She says her people have been practicing their disruption techniques. They can now interfere with Korthak technology from much greater distances. Jessica nodded and studied the star charts showing Emperor Vorthak's approaching fleet. David Marcus, are our ground forces ready? Every former prisoner who can fight has been trained in human guerrilla tactics, Marcus reported. We have 40,000 troops from 60 different species all working together. And I've set up medical stations throughout the planet, David added. We can treat wounded from any species now. Morale is higher than I've ever seen. Jessica felt proud of what they had accomplished. In just 2 months, they had transformed a hunting ground into the headquarters of a galactic liberation movement. But she knew the real test was coming. Emperor Vorthak has made the same mistake every bully makes, she announced to her council. He thinks bigger and stronger always wins. He's never faced an opponent who could think faster and adapt quicker. The next 7 days were spent in intense preparation. Jessica's forces didn't try to build more ships or gather more weapons. Instead, they focused on what humans did best, creative problem-solving and teamwork. When Emperor Vorthak's fleet arrived, it was the most terrifying sight in galactic history. 1,000 black warships filled the space around Drakmor like a swarm of deadly insects. Each ship was larger than anything in Jessica's small fleet. Surrender now, and I will make your deaths quick, Emperor Vorthak broadcast to the planet. Continue this rebellion, and I will hunt every survivor for my personal entertainment. Counteroffer, Jessica replied over all communication channels. Leave this system now and we won't destroy your entire fleet. The Emperor's laughter echoed across space. Destroy my fleet? With your handful of stolen ships? You truly are insane, little human. Amanda, signal the asteroid field, Jessica ordered. Suddenly, what the Korthak had thought were just space rocks began moving. Dozens of hollowed-out asteroids hidden among the natural debris activated their engines and headed straight for the Imperial fleet. Impossible, Emperor Vorthak snarled. Mere prey cannot master such technology. We didn't master your technology, Jessica explained as the first asteroids struck Korthak ships. We improved it. Each asteroid was packed with explosives designed by Lisa using Korthak materials but human engineering principles. When they hit, the Imperial ships suffered damage their shields weren't designed to handle. But the real surprise came next. Hidden inside the asteroid field, Thyron's camouflaged ship suddenly appeared. They had been invisible even to the Emperor's best sensors, waiting for the perfect moment to attack. Now, Zephia, Jessica commanded. The crystal beings throughout her fleet began humming in perfect harmony. Their combined vibrations disrupted the Imperial ship's communication and navigation systems. The perfect Korthak formation fell apart as ships lost contact with each other. This is not possible, Emperor Vorthak roared, as his mighty fleet struggled with malfunctioning equipment and surprise attacks. We are the apex predators. We have ruled for millennia. That's your problem, Jessica replied as her forces pressed their attack. You've been apex predators for so long you forgot what it's like to face real competition. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. The Korthak fleet was designed to intimidate and overpower weaker opponents. When faced with clever tactics and coordinated teamwork, their advantages disappeared. Emperor Vorthak's flagship, wounded and isolated from the rest of his fleet, was boarded by Jessica's special forces. The mighty ruler of the galaxy found himself facing the human who had started as his prey. "You want to hunt me personally?" Jessica asked as she entered his command bridge. "Here I am." The fight between Jessica and Emperor Vorthak was the most brutal of her life. The Emperor was the ultimate Korthak warrior, stronger and more experienced than any she had faced. But Jessica had learned from every battle, adapted from every encounter. When the Emperor used his massive size to try to overpower her, Jessica used speed and agility. When he relied on his natural weapons, she used captured technology more creatively. When he tried to intimidate her with roars and threats, she stayed calm and focused. The battle moved throughout the ship as other combat raged around them. Jessica's allies fought the Emperor's guards while their leaders determined the fate of the galaxy. Finally, Jessica saw her chance. The Emperor had become predictable, repeating the same attack patterns that had worked against countless prey species. Jessica feinted with a captured energy weapon, then struck with a simple human fighting technique the Emperor had never seen. Emperor Vorthak, master of 1,000 worlds, fell to a human who had started her journey as an explorer seeking new homes for her species. "This changes everything," Thyron said as news of the Emperor's defeat spread through both fleets. Jessica looked at the Korthak officers on the flagship's bridge. They were staring at her with something they had never felt before, respect mixed with fear. "By Korthak law, you are now Empress of our people," one of the officers said reluctantly. Jessica considered this carefully. She could rule the Korthak Empire, but that would make her just another dictator. That wasn't what humanity stood for. "I don't want to rule your empire," she announced. "I want to destroy it and build something better." 5 years had passed since the fall of Emperor Vorthak, and the galaxy was unrecognizable. Jessica Martinez stood on the observation deck of New Hope Station, the capital of what was now called the Galactic Federation. Through the massive windows, she could see ships from hundreds of different species docking peacefully together. "Captain, the morning reports are ready," Amanda announced as she entered the observation lounge. Amanda now served as the Federation's chief communications officer, coordinating between species that had never spoken to each other before. "How many new worlds joined us this week?" Jessica asked. 12, Amanda replied with a smile. 3 Korthak colonies voted to join voluntarily. They're tired of the old ways and want to be part of something better. Jessica nodded with satisfaction. The transformation hadn't been easy or quick. After defeating the Emperor, she had faced the enormous task of rebuilding an entire galactic civilization. The old Korthak Empire had ruled through fear and violence for thousands of years. Creating something based on cooperation and mutual respect required patience and wisdom. "Where are the others?" Jessica asked. "Ryan is leading the exploration of the Andromeda sector," Amanda reported. "His new fleet has discovered 17 habitable worlds and made contact with 6 new species. All peaceful first contacts. Lisa is on the engineering world of Mechanus, working with the crystal beings to develop new technologies. They're close to completing the universal translation system that will let any species communicate instantly with any other. David is at the Medical Academy on Healing Prime, training doctors from 40 different species. His techniques for treating alien injuries have saved millions of lives. And Marcus is at the Defense Academy, teaching former Korthak warriors how to protect instead of hunt. Many of them are becoming excellent peacekeepers." Jessica smiled as she thought about her crew. They had all found their calling in this new galaxy. What had started as a simple exploration mission had become the foundation for the greatest civilization in galactic history. "What about our special guests?" Jessica asked. "Thyron and Zephia are in the council chambers preparing for today's vote," Amanda replied. "They're both excited about the proposal." Jessica made her way to the Federation Council, a massive chamber where representatives from over 300 species gathered to make decisions affecting the entire galaxy. As she entered, conversations in dozens of languages filled the air, all being translated in real time by Lisa's communication system. Thyron approached her, his blue skin now bearing the markings of a Federation Council leader. "Jessica, the vote is almost ready. Are you sure about this?" I've never been more sure of anything, Jessica replied. Zephia's crystal body chimed with beautiful music that conveyed her agreement. The translation system converted her musical language into words. The harmony of the galaxy requires this change. The council chamber fell silent as Jessica took the podium. Representatives from hundreds of worlds looked up at the human, who had changed their lives forever. 5 years ago, I was Captain Jessica Martinez of the human exploration vessel USS Frontier, she began. I was captured by the Korthak Empire and brought to this galaxy as prey for their hunting games. The chamber remained quiet, but Jessica could sense the emotions of the assembled beings. Many of them had similar stories of capture, enslavement, or worse. Today I stand before you as Predator Queen of a very different kind, Jessica continued. Not a queen who rules through fear, but one who protects through strength. Not a predator who hunts the weak, but one who defends the innocent. She paused and looked around the chamber at faces representing the diversity of an entire galaxy. But the time has come for me to step down from this position, Jessica announced. A wave of surprise rippled through the chamber. Many representatives called out in protest, their translation devices creating a chorus of concerned voices. You don't understand, Thyron said urgently. Without your leadership, the Federation might fall apart. Some worlds might return to the old ways. That's exactly why I need to step down, Jessica explained. A true democracy doesn't depend on one leader, no matter how good they might be. The Federation needs to prove it can survive and grow without me. She activated a holographic display showing the structure of the new government they had proposed. Instead of a single ruler, we will have a rotating council presidency. Each major sector of the galaxy will take turns leading the Federation. Every species will have a voice and no single world will have too much power. But who will make the final decisions in times of crisis? Asked a representative from a former Korthak world. All of us working together, Jessica replied. That's what makes us stronger than the old empire. When we cooperate, we can solve any problem. The vote was close, but it passed. The Galactic Federation would become a true democracy, with Jessica serving as an advisor rather than a ruler. After the ceremony, Jessica returned to the observation deck where her original crew was waiting. They had all come back to witness this historic moment. So what's next for humanity's greatest explorer? Ryan asked with a grin. Actually, I was thinking about going home, Jessica said quietly. Her crew stared at her in surprise. Home? Lisa asked. You mean Earth? It's been over 8 years since we left, Jessica explained. Earth doesn't even know what happened to us. They're probably still sending out search parties. The journey back will take 3 years with our fastest ships, David pointed out. I know, Jessica said, but I think it's time humanity learned about their new neighbors. And I think the galaxy could benefit from meeting more humans, Marcus laughed. You want to start another revolution? Not a revolution, Jessica corrected. An evolution. Imagine what we could accomplish if we brought Earth into the Federation. Human creativity and determination, combined with the knowledge and abilities of hundreds of species. Zephia's crystal body pulsed with excited harmonies. Thyron translated her musical words. She says the galaxy's song is about to become even more beautiful. 6 months later, Jessica stood on the bridge of the FSS Harmony, the most advanced ship the Federation had ever built. It was a collaboration between dozens of species, incorporating the best technology and design principles from across the galaxy. Course laid in for Earth, Captain, announced her new pilot. A young Korthak warrior who had chosen to serve the Federation instead of following the old ways. Take us home, Jessica ordered. As the ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, Jessica thought about the journey ahead. She was no longer the same person who had left Earth 8 years ago as an explorer. She had become something new, a bridge between worlds, a protector of the innocent, a queen who ruled through love instead of fear. Behind her, the Galactic Federation continued to grow and prosper. Former prey species were becoming explorers and scientists. Former predators were learning to be protectors and teachers. The galaxy that had once been ruled by the law of the hunt was now guided by the principles of cooperation and mutual respect. And somewhere ahead of them was Earth, a small blue world whose children were about to inherit the stars. Jessica Martinez had been meant to be prey in the Korthak hunting grounds. Instead, she had become the predator queen who transformed an entire galaxy. Now she was going home to share that transformation with her own species. The hunt was over. The age of cooperation had begun. The stars themselves seemed to sing with the promise of a better future for all sentient life in the galaxy.